Hi everybody, thanks for joining me today. I thought it would be fun to do a video on how to wire wrap these charms. It's kind of a teardrop shape or a floral shape, but it's great if you wanted to wire wrap in the center or have a dangle bead below, which is what I did. I wire wrapped some peach moonstone and attached it to the charm below. So I'll be showing you how to wire wrap these and so you can create your own beautiful earrings. I'm using 18 gauge wire, and to start with, since it's kind of curved, I'm going to use my nylon pliers to just kind of straighten out the wire a little bit. And also kind of warm it up as you're working with it. Next, I'm going to use these pliers. These are by the Beadsmith, and I'm going to find the center of my wire, and I'm using the smaller of the round nose sections. And I'm just going to put it here in the middle of my wire and take my fingers and push the wire up so they meet and it forms a round base. Next, you want to take some pliers. These are a little bit more of a heavy dutier one, and you want to pinch the end together as close as possible, and you want to go somewhat gently so your wire, sometimes it wants to turn on itself when you're pressing the end together. So you just want to gently press the two wires, just like that. Press the two wires together so they meet like this. And now I'm going to do the second one. That way we can have a pair of earrings that we're making. And there we go. Next, you want to take your wire and gently pull it apart. You don't want to pull it apart too far, but I want to have enough room here for my mandrel to fit in the center. So I'm going to do that with my second pair, and you just kind of gently open your wire to form a V shape. Next, I'm going to use this wood mandrel. This one is 15 millimeter. This is a set that comes with different sizes, and it's sold on beadalon.com. It's a Beadalon product or an artistic wire product. So next you're going to take your wire and you're going to put the mandrel towards the bottom and in the center of your wire form. You don't want to go all the way down to the bottom because you want to keep this design down here, but you want to go down a little bit and also be centered. So I have like about a ½ inch here on the base. And then what you want to do is, while you're holding everything in place, is crisscross your wires over the top, nice and firm, and to where they meet in the center of your mandrel, but they're also pressed down. And this will help you with your wire form. And go ahead and slide it off. So I'm showing you how to do one at a time to kind of get the idea across. If you're doing a pair, you can fold both of them on the mandrel at the same time. So that way they come out to match in size a little bit more. But I'll go ahead and do this one separate. So again, you just want to put the mandrel towards the end of your wire form and then roll it over and take your wire while you're holding it in place and crisscross your wire over the top of the mandrel. And there's your shape forming. And then go ahead and slide your mandrel out. And if they don't match, you can reopen up your wire and try it again. Sometimes you can also adjust it with your fingers. Smash the top down a little bit so you have your pair. Next, I'm grabbing my round nose pliers, and I'm going to grab the wire that's on the top of the two closest to the outside, and I'm going to find the top and the center of the charm, and I'm going to use my round nose pliers, and I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to coil it over the top of the round nose pliers to form a loop, and then kind of rotate your pliers up straight so you have a loop created and it's up straight over the top of your pendant. Next, I'm going to use my wire cutters. I'm going to cut off excess wire. Next, I'm going to take the wire that was behind and I'm going to move it to the front of the loop. And I'm going to use these pliers to help anchor everything into its place. That way it doesn't move out of its place. And I'm going to use my hands on the first one and coil the copper wire around the first loop on the base of the top loop. And then once that's been established, I'm going to use my chain nose pliers. I'm going to go around again. This is going to help lock in the top loop under your copper wire. And we can pinch this closed a little bit. And you can take this off and cut off excess wire. And pinch this closed as well. Now, if you have too much of a raw section of wire, you can use a cup burr to help make this softer or not as sharp on the end, or use a file. So if I feel like it's sticking out too much, I might just file the end down a little bit to help smooth that part of the wire out. And now we're going to do our second one. So again, I'm going to use my round nose pliers and go over the top and the center of my pendant. And holding my round nose pliers, I'm going to use my fingers here. I'm going to rotate the copper wire over the round nose pliers to form a loop and rotate my pliers around so I have a loop at the top, and cut off excess wire. And now I'm going to move the wire from the back to the front. I'm going to use my tools to hold everything in place underneath the loop, and this will help hold the frame in one spot so it won't move out of the way as I'm moving wire around. And then I'm going to take the wire and I'm going to form a loop, and I'm going to go around once with my hand, and I'm going to use my chain nose pliers to go around one more time, and this will help lock in the top loop and wire wrap everything into place. And then cut off excess wire, and then you can let those go and pinch close. Now you can leave your wire around, which also gives a real nice finish, or if you wanted to add extra texture, you could use your hammer and metal block, and you can hammer these. Now what you'd want to do is move your loop off the edge and use your hammer over the wire like this. That way you're only hammering this portion of the charm, and then flip it over and hammer again, and then flip it back over again for just one more small tap. I've now hammered both of my charms, so it gives it a little bit more of a textured look on the metal. And if you wanted to, you could add your charms to liver of sulfur, which will antique your copper metal and will give it a darker look. When I use liver of sulfur, when I'm done, I polish my metal with polishing cloth, which gives it a nice shiny look. And then I also preserve it with Renaissance wax, which helps cut back on tarnishing and keeps this copper color longer. And when you're all done with your charms, you can add 2 ear wires and some stones on the top, on the bottom. I used 26 gauge artistic wire brand raw dead soft copper to wire wrap these onto the charms. Here's what the artistic wire looks like. And then I just wire wrap them onto the charms. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and TikTok. Have a great day. Thank you for liking and subscribing.